Hi, it's Len, and I'd like to share with you some lessons learned during the Rona and really focus on 5 ways to improve our post-Rona teaching. And to qualify that a little bit or explain it a little bit, I'm going to concentrate on what things that we learned that we should be able to carry forward and keep on doing, even though the coronavirus may have left us, and what things definitely, especially in terms of online learning experiences, blended learning experiences, that we need to leave behind, just lose those things. That's the focus of this particular session. Now, I've created a wiki, a chop shop, if you will, that you can see here. And by accessing here, I've listed my 5 categories that I'm going to talk about today, but I'm also encouraging each of us to participate and throw in some of your own best things to keep or best things to lose in the future. So at any rate, let's make sure you get a hold, you can stop this recording and get a hold of that QR code and go there, and you can see where I've made my entries, and I hope that you will add and we can create a community entry point for all of these ideas. So thank you for doing that. And I look forward to seeing what all the comments and ideas are. Now, I wanted to talk about how I created this top 5. Was we said we're going to talk about top 5 lessons learned from the Rona, during the Rona, that maybe we ought to carry forward or stop doing. And so that got started just out of a wealth of experiences during the Rona. So, for example, teaching my own courses during the Rona, watching my grandkids in their classes during the Rona, talking to many educators who were experiencing education, virtual education, sometimes for the first time, and looking at attending over a dozen virtual conferences where we were lamenting or celebrating the experiences nationwide as we were moving forward during this difficult time. But most importantly, the last one was there was a virtual conference I attended in, of course I wasn't there, but it was held in Dublin. And one of the featured elements of this conference was a number of students who gave their insight. And so those really weighed heavily on me. I realized that, yeah, those things that these students recommended were some of the same things I recognized through all those other sources of experience. And so it really sealed the deal for me. And I wanted to put together this quick presentation about some of the 5 best things we can do. So I'm going to go through them very quickly to stay within our time limit. And you can spend more time on the wiki with your comments or ideas being posted there. So the first thing that we heard, especially coming from the students, was keep the recordings. We all made recordings for various purposes during the coronavirus experience, and they might have been a key lecture, a key concept, key activities, key green, but the students really liked those and thought they were very useful because they could go back and relearn, or if they didn't get it the first time, they could go back. So we need to keep some of the most effective recordings. I know I've done that already. We made one of our hybrid courses entirely online, but some of those things we made were so good, we want to keep trying to figure out how to plug those into our blended or hybrid classes in the future. So that's one of the keepers that I wanted to mention. Another thing we heard, this also came from the students, is keep the flexibility. We saw a lot of teachers bending the rules, creating more flexibility for the learners because of their life situations, the demands on their life, the demands in their family, the stress that was going on. And the students really appreciated that, is in our experience. So that is something I think needs to be carried forward in the future. Keep the flexibility that we brought into the instructional moment. The next big one is called losing the big. We need to lose big things. And the notice here, the idea here is we need to do more chunking, taking big things and dividing them up into smaller pieces. So longer Zoom sessions to shorter, longer reads on online pages to shorter snippets or shorter segments, let's say. Any kind of chunking where we can divide it up, have the same amount of content, just divide it up, put a learning commercial in the middle and add some more of that content. Just ways to chunk things is a good deal. And so there were too many big things that got very frustrating and became very boring during the coronavirus. So chunking is a real solution there that'll help us lose the big. The next idea that I think really mattered during the coronavirus experience was to shorten things whenever we could. And we're talking about shorten the length of a presentation, shorten the length of a screen or the amount of screen reading, shorten the length of discussion postings, shorten the length of lectures, shortening the length of any kind of, this is a really good one, instructions that we have for a student assignment. Some of the assignment instructions are just so heavy. And one of the things we learned was, let's see if we can shorten, condense, and make those smaller to make them more palatable when they're in an online format, because the full screen can be visually overwhelming to students as they learn online. And then, of course, shorten any content that we can and get rid of the fluff. I call it getting rid of the noise. So that's another way to look at it. The last thing, which was actually the third most important thing to students that I heard from every corner, at every grade level, all the way up through the university programs that we service. But we need to lose the busy work. In other words, there's something about online learning that makes us feel guilty, like it's too easy, or we haven't done enough, or we haven't checked in enough. And we add in a lot of busy work to the online learning experience. We fill it with the online learning experience with things we would never dare to do. Rudimentary busy work, rudimentary tasks that there's just no reason we would do those in a face-to-face class where it's just so much more efficient. But we do that because of this sense of guilt in online learning. So one of the key things to learn, and it was what the student said again, the student said, we got to stop all the busy work. I've seen it with my grandkids. I've seen it with university students. I've seen it with all those Dublin students, with all the different educators and business professionals that are in my graduate classes. We have to lose, going forward, after we're done with we've got to lose the busy work when we teach in online and hybrid settings. Those are my 5. Please return to the wiki and add some of your ideas, and I'll be looking for them and reading them there. Thank you so much.